Were you in a relationship? Was this a committed relationship?
This was more like sexual type kind of relationship.
It was a relationship.
I never loved him. It was a mistake.
I had suspicions of Mr. Richardson cheating on me. And so when I felt like he was hurting me, I decided to hurt him, to get back at him. So that's when I came and told him that it's a possibility that Mr. Martin is Logan's father.
When were you intimate with the other guy, Miss Cole?
I was told it was around the 2nd of April.
Is that true?
No.
When was it?
April 10th.
It was told, you were told around the
The next night.
Ms. Stanley was dragging her former fling to the court. She claimed Mr. Williams was not the daddy while he was sure he was the real deal. Both seemed ready to fight the paternity battle. So let's strap ourselves in for this crazy ride.
Miss Stanley, you have dragged your former fling, Mr. Williams, to court for a paternity test to prove he did not father your 3-year-old son, Ryan Alexander. You admit to being intimate at the time of conception, but say today's results will prove your son does not have his DNA. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So how did this love story come to be, huh? While the plaintiff believed it was just a typical sexual situationship and nothing more. Guess what? The baby daddy believed otherwise. Oh yeah, and Aunt Mary's got proof of that. Bring it on.
More like a sexual type kind of relationship.
It was a relationship.
I never loved him. It was a mistake.
No, Your Honor, excuse me, she's wrong with that one. She's a liar.
What? How did you see the relationship, Mr. Williams? Explain.
She had us planned out getting married. She had us planned out to get the cakes. She had us planned out to get I was taking her kids back and forth to school almost every day.
Boy, things heated up fast after that message, and I'm pretty sure you can guess whether Mama claimed it was her sending that message or not. Cue the drama, because dear old aunt had a lot to say after that brazen refusal. Oh, Ms. Stanley, what the heck was going on over here?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
No, it is not.
Yes, ma'am, yes, it is.
Oh, well, then let's pull up my Facebook page and let her
Well, then let's do that. Then let's do that.
Let's do it.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let
'Cause that's
Chris
all you
fight his
boys
own
know.
battles instead
Come
of
on.
letting you do it.
No, how about that?
It's none of your business. What's
Yeah.
going on in the courtroom?
Yes, it is my aunt's
because,
business.
It's a battle of he said, she said, and it was going strong because the defendants claimed Mommy had told them Mr. Williams was the father. And boy, she had the receipts to prove that. Now that's what I call doing your homework before coming to the court.
He's told me since the boy was born that it was his. There was not a question that he belonged to somebody else. I have proof there again of both boys. This is Chris as a child, and this is her son as a child, and they both look identical. So
Let me see that evidence, please, ma'am.
Chris came to me and asked me if I thought he belonged to him.
Aunt Mary ate that and left no crumbs. It was proof after proof with her. Now, how will the baby mama make sense of this one, huh? Well, she piled up the blame on Mr. Williams. Yeah, she tackled the insane daddy dilemma that way.
You send this
No,
message?
Your Honor, I did not.
So where do you think these messages are coming from?
Maybe because he had access to my cell phone.
That didn't come from cell phone, baby doll. It came from the messages that you sent me on Facebook, and it's even got the dates on there.
So, baby mama accepted that the defendant could be a possibility. Hard not to accept. I mean, when you have fun with more than guys during the conception time frame, right? However, she claimed her heart believed otherwise.
Could be a potential father. You understand that,
He
right?
could be a potential father.
So you're with the other man. How do you end up with Mr. Williams?
We met at my cousin's place. We were living in a trailer where Mr. Williams would come and visit with me. At that time, that's when I conceived Ryan Alex, is when me and my ex.
Well, we know feelings never trump biology over her. Nope. And on top of that, Ms. Stanley didn't inform the baby daddy of the birth either. Oh yeah, and her reason for doing so? It appears Mr. Williams was not so lovey-dovey with words. However, the cherry on top was her slip of the tongue though.
Because for one, she wouldn't even call me to let me know she was having an emergency C-section at the hospital. I didn't know nothing about it the next day.
It's kind of hard to let you know anything, Mr. Williams, whenever I was put under sedation. I was put under sedation.
You're wrong.
If you had,
I was
Get some order. Let's not argue. Let's just get the fact. Did you not inform him on purpose?
I did not inform him on purpose.
Oh, things were heating up. And Lauren Lake was so not impressed by these guys fighting across the aisle. Mommy claimed Mr. Williams hadn't been in the kid's life, but he did not seem to agree with her. No No surprise there, and there they go, fighting again.
She could be with that would give her whatever they could get, because she would.
So now, Miss
yes,
Combs,
sure
Miss
was.
Combs, calm
You
down.
don't-
We're not going to start arguing across the aisle anymore. I'm trying to understand from Miss Stanley. She's admitted that Mr. Williams is potentially a father, but she feels like this other man has a greater probability of being the father because you feel like you were more consistent with him in terms of a sexual relationship.
Finally, the infamous new man of the baby mama entered the scene. Now he came and just claimed baby Ryan to be his, regardless of the DNA results. Ryan Alexander was one lucky baby to have people fighting to get his custody.
I've been with her for 2 years. I ain't never heard nothing about that, but when the first 3 months we was together, I was at a store, he come by, see if he can go see Ryan. I was like, well, okay, well, I didn't know nothing about this, all right? So I let, yeah, go ahead. So when I come back home that day, she said that he had her in his hands, holding him on the carport, cussing her and all that stuff when he had him in his hand.
Well, we seem to have reached the end of this wild ride. Yep, the moment of truth was here, and it was time. DNA diagnostics took the show from here. Get ready for the grand reveal and crazy karma, people.
Mr. Williams, you are not his father. Biological father, are you able to reach that person?
Yes, I am. He already knows.
Ms. Cole, along with her mother, brought the defendant and his mother to court. Yep, two mummies were in a good old face-off. The baby mama was 5 months pregnant and claimed she had a bit of a promiscuous reputation. However, she was sure who her guy was. But Mr. Cole, on the other hand, was not buying that one bit.
5 months pregnant, and both you and your mother claim there is no doubt as to whose baby you are carrying. Ms. Cole, you admit to sleeping with multiple men. However, you are 100% certain that Mr. Gilbert is the father of your unborn child. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, their real meet cute was a school dance. Yep. And when the baby daddy saved the mama from bullying, she could not help but be close to him then. Well, who wouldn't, right? Though they both claimed things were just physical, but now there's a baby involved. Can you feel the love tonight? Well, maybe not.
We went to school together. We were best friends in school, and he was someone that stuck up for me when I got bullied. And I was staying with a friend of the family over in Osseo, and he contacted me and asked me to hang out with him, and I said yes. I went over there, and one thing led to another.
Did you all start a relationship, or were you just having sex?
We were just having sex.
So, Ms. Cole chose the joyous news to the Addy over text. Yeah, dropping that bomb like that. Pretty sure you can guess the baby daddy's reaction to it. Well, no worries if you can't, because he brought along the evidence of it.
I have it here.
You do?
Yes.
You brought evidence.
Yes.
Jerome, will you please hand me that evidence? Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so you got a text message from her. It reads, I found out I was pregnant. Would you be in the baby's life if you knew it was yours? And then you wrote back, yay.
No, yeah, why? There's supposed to be a space there.
Since we have heard Mr. Gilbert's reaction, let's move on to Grandma's reaction, shall we? And when she got to know, she immediately rang Mrs. Cole and inquired about it. But boy, what she heard in the background. Well, let's just say it made her paternity doubt antenna go wild, knowing there very well could be another possibility.
No, he found out on Sunday. Mrs. Cole contacted me on Monday on Facebook, and when I called her, and her daughter, other daughter, Tasha, was in the background yelling, he's not the only option, he's not the only option. It may be somebody else's, it may be somebody else's. And I'm going,
No,
really?
that's not true. You
can
were
hear
at
her
my
home.
Oh man, there was one shocking twist after another here. Now Ms. Blake raised all the right questions, and baby mama had answers for them. It appears she was sure the other guy was no daddy because of the vasectomy and the fact that he was way, way older than her. Yep, that was her argument. But guess what? Mr. Gilbert had proof to show otherwise.
How do you know that this guy had a vasectomy?
Because he told me more than once.
Okay.
And
How old is the other person?
he's old enough to be my father.
Something like that.
Okay.
And Miss Lake, we have.
I do have the text messages about her lying when I asked her if I was the only possibility.
Well, moving on from that, things took a puzzling turn when the defendant recalled the time she saw the mother-daughter duo arguing in a grocery store and baby mama crying. That does seem strange, doesn't it? You tell me. However, Ms. Cole reacted in a not-so-mature manner when they came face-to-face right then and there. And that's not all. Ms. Blake also had a conception calendar highlighting the not-so-right conception math.
The conception date that my son and Miss Cole slept together was around April 9th. When I asked, they said it was around 7th, 8th, or 9th. I was told her due date was January 2nd. Well, if you take April 9th to January 2nd. Women know this, men don't. Women are actually pregnant for 10 months.
Now, Mother Cole immediately jumped in to defend her daughter. But hold on just a minute, because the defendant claimed baby mama was lying about the conception dates. And lo and behold, it turned out true.
Not living with her mother at the time that she had her period, so how would her mother know?
She came over to see me and I told her.
When were you intimate with the other guy, Miss Cole?
I was told it was around the 2nd of April.
Is that true?
No.
When was it?
April 10th.
The defendant believed there was an ulterior motive as to why the Coles were pinning a baby on them. And Ms. Blake knew oh so well what that could be. She believed it was their lifestyle that attracted these guys. I heard that right, yeah.
They want my son to be the father because we live very well. My mom takes very good care of all of us. And I think they want to tap into that because we don't we don't live off anybody but my mom. My mom's a very good, great person. I have my own income. I said that wrong when I said that, pardon me. They know that we're not gonna just go, oh, okay, it's your responsibility and walk away from this baby.
The courtroom was ready to drop the bombshell. Yep. The DNA dice were rolled and the results were in. Let's see whether what baby mama believed in her heart turned out to be true or if was it time for payback.
Mr. Gilbert, you are not the father. The fact that you all are supporting one another. And yet I do understand what Miss Cole is saying.
We're diving into the melodramatic world of Ms. Bruton and Mr. Martin, who were at a crossroads regarding the paternity of their baby. Ms. Bruton wanted to get rid of the defendant, but it was not that easy to do so. Let the paternity court spectacle begin.
Claim to be 100% positive that Mr. Martin is not your son's biological father because your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Richardson, is.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say today's DNA test will allow you to get rid of Mr. Martin and to finally reconcile your relationship with Mr. Richardson. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So Ms. Bruton's got her ex, Mr. Richardson, and her current beau, Mr. Martin, both vying to be the daddy, but now she wants her family to be with her EX. So right off the bat, these guys had different stories and different versions to share. And mommy pulled the MIA stunt after dropping the pregnancy bomb, though she had a justification for that as well.
I know I had unprotected sex around the time that she conceived. She might say I didn't have it as many times she said I did, but I know it's a fact.
No.
And it's 99.7%
No, Your Honor.
that it is mine.
No, Your Honor. We only had unprotected sex twice.
No.
That's it.
Your Honor.
Twice.
Your Honor.
In my apartment twice.
Your Honor, it was 3 at her apartment, 2 at her family member house, 1 at my house, and 1 in the car.
Now, how did the sordid affair begin in the first place? According to mommy, her heart had always been with her ex, and Mr. Martin was just the go-to guy. Ouch. But guess what? Baby daddy was aware of that situation. So why was he so cool about it then? Good question, my friends, because the defendant had plans of his own.
Me and Mr. Richardson, we was having our ups and downs in our relationship. And so when I met Mr. Martin, I confided him as a friend, and then our friendship grew into a sexual relationship. But it wasn't nothing more than that. My heart always been with Anthony.
All right, so you were always in love with Mr. Richardson,
Your
but
Honor.
you ended up cheating on him with Mr. Martin.
Yes,
You also did not use protection.
correct.
Hold the phone now. It was time for the conception calendar to rise and shine. And boy, did it do just that. Mommy had her dates all figured out when she did what with both the candidates. However, Mr. Martin was not on board with the days of their fun times. Yep, he had done his math and questioned Mama on stringing him along too.
When were you intimate with Mr. Martin?
April the 10th and April the 11th. That's it.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it is true. We only had sex twice.
Listen, that's so not true.
I didn't tell them about each other. I just told them that I'm pregnant. And
Oh, so you didn't tell the other man that there was
because
another.
I had to keep it a secret because I was in love with Mr. Richardson and I didn't want him to find out about Mr. Martin.
Now, Ms. Bruton claimed to her ex-boyfriend that she was so in love with stepping up to the fatherhood role. However, baby daddy claimed he stepped up too, only to be stopped by the baby mama, and then she disappeared. Gotta listen to her explanation though. Fast forward to the day of birth. The plaintiff was accompanied by Mr. Richardson, and Mr. Martin was a no-show. Why do you ask? Because the baby mama didn't tell him and completely cut off contact. Now, what does that make her? Sneaky or desperate? You be the judge of those people.
I try my best to avoid Mr. Martin because he's very messy, trying to break up me and Mr. Richardson's relationship.
I didn't.
And I
But
want
when
Mr.
you
Rich-
told him he was a potential father,
Yes.
Wait, Mr. Martin, did you try to be there? Were you trying to go to
Yeah, he
Dr.
tried, but I've tried to. No, I wasn't hearing it. I wasn't seeing
At
it.
first she did. I was trying to do that, but then after them 2 weeks, she just disappeared. It was like nothing.
About time we heard from Mr. Richardson, since he had such an important part to play in this whole paternity fiasco. He had been involved in the whole journey, and then a couple of months afterwards, all because the baby's mama never told him of another possibility. Yep. Boy, that must have hurt when he got to know about Mr. Martin.
I have no idea where Mr. Martin was because we wasn't in contact with each other.
And who signed the birth certificate?
Mr. Richardson. I didn't even let Mr. Martin know when I had Logan.
You didn't?
No.
You didn't think he had a right to know that the baby was coming when it
No,
potentially
because-
could be his?
No, because I wanted Mr. Richardson to know all of that. I didn't want Mr. Martin to know none of that because I don't want him to be
Just self-
Logan's father.
just-
Even after she accepted she cheated on him, Mr. Richardson still believed the baby to be his. And we know Mommy Dear was all too happy with that, but Mr. Martin, not so much.
Another man in the picture, because she says, I didn't tell Mr. Richardson about Mr. Martin because I didn't want him to know.
I actually found out 4 months after Logan was born.
Really?
Yeah.
So when you're in the hospital, you're thinking that without a doubt, this is my child that's being born today.
Yes.
And that's why you signed the birth certificate.
Yes.
But it wasn't until 4 months after this child was born that you found out about Mr. Martin?
Dear Lord, Ms. Bruton had been playing both these guys like a fiddle, and he standing there just smirking about wasn't helping her case either. But no worries, because Judge Lake saw through her and told her what was what.
Just want to mess
I
up
was
our
it.
family, Mr. Martin.
I can care
Yes,
le-
you
I
do.
can care less about her
I just
relationship.
wish
I
you
got
would
my
just
own
back
relationship.
up.
Oh, let me understand this. Are you annoyed by him because he thinks he's the father, or are you annoyed by
yeah.
him because you think he's trying to break up you and
Both.
Mr. Richardson?
Both. I'm annoyed by him because he thinks he's the father.
Mr. Richardson, I have to ask you this. If he's not your biological child, are you going to stay in the relationship and try to make it work?
And right now, I really can't answer that.
Woo! The moment we've all been waiting for, it was here. Brace yourselves for the bombshell verdict that will either shatter expectations or deliver karma. Time to see what fate had planned for these guys next.
Mr. Richardson, you are not the father.
What?
Mr. Martin,
I told you.
what?
I told you.
You
I
are the
told
father.
you. I told you.
But the DNA does not lie, sweetheart.
Imagine a daddy's little girl dragging her not so sure I'm your daddy dad to the paternity court, because that's what happened with Ms. Lewis and Mr. Palmer. This decade's saga was finally headed for some answers, so let's dive right in.
Devastated that after being daddy's little girl, you are now forced to drag your father to court to prove that you are his biological daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Palmer, you appear in court believing there is no way you are Ms. Lewis's father and claim you've always known you are not her dad.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, one summer, Ms. Lewis discovered she might not be the apple of her daddy's eye, while he claimed he knew all along. Oh yeah, he loved her mother, and yet he was sure he didn't father this daughter, putting the plaintiff in tears. I mean, no surprise there, that's gotta hurt.
We started going to visit him every summer up until the one summer when I was told that he wasn't my dad. We had about maybe 2 or 3 summers before he said it.
That you would spend together.
Yes.
Hold on to your seats now, because the father was about to recall the time his worst nightmare turned out to be true. Yep, not a pretty sight that he paints of a 9 Ford Ms. Lewis's mother. However, the plaintiff wasted no breath to jump to her defense.
There, he had a 59 Ford, pink and white. I never will forget that. I was in love with her.
What happened with the Ford, the car? What you said you were...
That was her boyfriend's car.
That was the boyfriend's car.
He's in there driving.
Was she in the car when you saw her?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you see?
She laid down, her leg was sticking out the side of the car.
Now daddy's rejection stung, and after that summer, the daughter didn't go back for quite some time. No surprise there. Though he claimed grandma tried her hardest to soothe the hurt, but damage was done, I guess.
Told me that he wasn't my dad. I said, well, if I'm not your daughter, why would you continue to raise me as yours? Because my mom didn't ask you to. She didn't ask you for anything. We reached out. Me and my sister reached out.
Fasten your seatbelts, people, because we are about to navigate the murky waters of timing and conception. Yep, because the timing was the one thing that made Mr. Palmer sure he wasn't the real deal. And he brought along an exhibit to prove his theory. However, while he was away serving his country, Ms. Lewis was told something else about his whereabouts.
The time I left for war in May 1968,
Let me follow along with you. So this is your timeline. You say you left to go to war.
in May of 68.
Then you say you returned 9 or 10 months later. And then Ms. Lewis was born September 6, 1969.
Well, the plot surely thickened. Oh yeah, now Mr. Palmer claimed he was away when the plaintiff was conceived. But that's not what her witness claimed. The defendant's biological son stepped up as Ms. Lewis's witness, and he backed up her claim and more. It appears they had another sibling out there born just 8 days apart from the plaintiff. I bet you didn't see that coming.
Ma'am, I do. I was there. I was there when he told her that he was not her father, but I believe that.
Oh, you were there on that day at the farm?
Ma'am, I was. Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Palmer is your father.
Yes,
He's
Your
your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Palmer, you do not dispute that you are Mr. Williams' biological father.
No, I don't, Your Honor.
After all that evidence, Daddy Dearest was still standing by his claim. So much so, the man justified the other kid. I mean, it wasn't so convincing, but he wasn't budging. Oh, he seemed sure.
I probably got home on a leave or something like that. I left on leave. I don't know exactly. I can't remember exactly how it was, but
So they're born 8 days apart. If you conceive that child and you don't dispute it, why are you disputing that you could have conceived along with her mother, Ms. Lewis?
because we didn't have no relationship at the time.
This paternity mystery had gone on long enough. It was time to give these guys the answers they were so desperately needed. Let's see whether the dear old dad was indeed telling the truth or will be left speechless.
Mr. Palmer, you are her father.
Now, don't you say that to me no more. We got them papers.
Okay.
We needed that.
Yes, we did.
Mr. Levette and Ms. Jackson shared a relationship revolving around doubt, drama, and diapers. Oh yeah, Daddy suspected foul play in the parentage of 15-month-old Corey Jr., while Mommy appeared to be fed up with him. Cue the paternity roller coaster.
Mr. Lovett, you say Ms. Jackson is a manipulative cheater who has flaunted her flings in front of you during your relationship, and you say her affairs have caused you to doubt that you fathered her 15-month-old son, Corey Jr. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Jackson, you say Mr. Lovett is definitely your son's father and is doubting paternity because of his needless insecurities. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, the plaintiff claimed to have loved and cherished the baby boy, but he had doubts that made him connect with the little fella. Well, that's understandable only if one of them was in the wrong. It seems both had a part to play in it. Oh yeah.
My oldest son looks different from him. He's darker, he's chubby, got
He has a
both
different
legs.
mother. Of course
Another
he's gonna
son
look
by
different.
another
He's not gonna be
woman.
twins.
Yeah.
He has a different mother.
Right.
Of course he's gonna
But
look different.
But the stuff that you been doing, it brings the doubts on it.
Okay.
Like, it ain't like you been good.
You're right.
Of course, you been pregnant.
And you ain't either.
He didn't take the relationship seriously. He was talking to other women. So being that he didn't take it seriously, I didn't take it seriously.
Moving on, we get to dive into the nitty-gritty of the doubts and suspicions. Amid accusations of tracking devices, Facebook espionage, and drama like no other, I'm telling you, these guys had it all. Betrayal, thy name is love, fellas. So the potential father's reaction to pregnancy news was, let's just say, lacked enthusiasm, and he soon told the court the times he caught the mommy. However, before he could finish, Ms. Jackson interjected. Now you better be prepared to get whipped from this altercation.
Think she's doing it because you're doing it?
No.
So how do you know she's even doing that?
She's just a type of woman that moves on. Look, she started having kids at the age of 18. She ain't gonna stop because of me. She got 6 kids.
I had 4 kids when you met me. You gave me 2 more.
I'm gonna assume that she's just moving on like she always been.
Hard to keep up with that, huh? But take a breath because these guys weren't done yet. Oh yes, it seems after the baby daddy caught the guy cutting the grass, he later caught him sliding into baby mama's DMs too. And so the doubts began.
Work, and I was, and he texted, but I had her phone. We switched phones that day. So I was texting the guy like I was her, and then he sent me a picture. So the same guy that supposed to be her cousin.
Wait a minute now.
That's not true. That's not true.
Is this the grass cutting guy?
Yes. He recognized the guy's face through my messages.
So the baby daddy claimed mommy was just pinning the baby on him just to have a father in their lives. Now is that a good enough reason to go to this length? But complicated thy name was Ms. Jackson, because the woman was married and had Mr. Levette on the side, along with another guy, getting crowded over here.
Still married, so I wasn't
And
taking
my
it
divorce
serious
was
in the beginning.
pending until I got
So I'm
pregnant.
still not
so now we
taking
got
it serious.
kids in between the marriage. So now we have to take an extra step, get parenting, and get proof that he's not the.
Whatever was you doing with her marriage, she got pregnant again by another guy, and then you turn around and get pregnant by me.
Well, the plaintiff was piling up all the blame on the baby mama. I mean, he found it convenient enough, but he took it up a notch when he brought the mommy's insecurities into the mix, that she can't stay alone. Ouch.
Can't stay alone, and it shows whether I'm in her life or not, she gonna keep it moving.
It ain't my fault I look good.
Yeah, you look good.
Of course I can't stay alone. I can't go to the
You got a lot
mailbox without causing a car accident.
But you got a lot of kids.
It ain't my fault I look good.
You got a lot of kids, and they need to learn their ABCs.
Listen, you are a beautiful young woman. You do have trouble being alone.
Next up, the husband came up to the podium. Now, according to him, these guys had been married for 6 years, but have been separated for 4, and he was sure he didn't father the baby in question. But their situation was certainly tricky enough. Legal limbo. Could not have put it in better words.
I just had 2 beautiful twins. I'm just waiting for my divorce, for them two to get themselves together so I could finally have my divorce.
It's holding off both of our life. We both can't get divorced. He has another woman, other kids in between the marriage. I have another man and kids between the marriage. We can't get a divorce because this boy won't sign an affidavit stating that those are his
Y'all
kids.
should have been got a divorce before you met me.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
Before your other baby daddy.
When I met you, it was pending.
Well, you're in legal limbo.
The only thing left in this chaos was the DNA results. Yep, they were ready to be rolled out, and Judge Lake was going to give her final verdict. Let's see who was truthful in this messy equation and who was on the wrong side of the crazy karma.
Mr. Coleman, you are not his father. In the case of Lovett versus Jackson, Mr. Lovett, you are not his father.
Told this. That's why I wanted to get DNA.
Are you sure? How is that possible?
Do you know who his father is?
You know who it is.
Well, well, well. That result was not in Mommy's favor. Oops. However, there was one more kid they had. And yep, baby daddy wanted her tested as well. So the next result was that of that baby. Let's what fate had in store for that one.
Mr. Lovett, you are Ariel's father. Miss Jackson, what are you gonna do?
I don't know.
The other gentleman, does he want to be a part of Corey's life?
He wanted to at first, but I kept telling him that it wasn't his because the dates didn't add up.